Now let me tell you something about this book, and certainly Donia is going to tell us even more. This is a page turner. How did you go about formulating a story in which there is the absence of a mother, but a bond with the grandmama, but there are three men in Nadia's life? How did this narrative come to be?
I wrote this novel in 2012, where in 2011 there were a lot of upheavals in Cairo. My father passed away about 16 years ago, and my main obsession back then was, what if he was there during the events of Tahrir Square? So I decided to bring him back to life and to just imagine how would things be, how would he react to everything, how would he think about the events, how would he react to me engaging in the protests. Would he be pro, would he be against?
The politics that are occurring, they are a backdrop. The narrative that is concurrent is that of your relationships with your family and those outside of your immediate family network. The political circumstances of the 2011 revolution, it is a necessary part of the story because that's what's happening. Something else the audience should be fully aware of. This novel moves very quickly, and the page-turning aspect of the narrative is so very beautiful that you have to really pay close attention to the time span. The translator, certainly, in your own words, performed an excellent job.
She loved the original text. She loved the Arabic text. Yes, okay. That was the main thing, because I did not know Nariman personally before I wrote Cigarette Number 7 in Arabic. And then I received a message from her on social media saying that she fell in love with the text and that she loved it, and that she sent me certain paragraphs from the Arabic text, and she said that someday maybe she would love to translate it. When it's a job, things might get lost, and the text might not be very coherent. It might not be very strong as the original one. But when it's a passion and you really are, when you're loyal to the original one, I think things get way better. Sometimes the characters do not really do what you want them to do. Sometimes they take their own path.
Yes.
And that's what happened with Ali. Ali was meant to be not a very nice person. He caused a big loss and a big heartbreak to the heroine. And I remember writing Ali's character with a lot of anger. And I remember not liking him at all while I was writing him. And then the novel comes out, and I start receiving comments of, oh, we love Ali. Ali is not supposed to be lovable at all. And people started telling me how much they relate to Ali.
I found that throughout the novel, there's a lot of heartbreak. There's loss.
The most accurate thing that was written about Cigarette Number 7 is that it's a novel about unfinished dreams.
Yes.
So most of the people, or most of the characters in the story do not actually fulfill their dreams. They try and they try, but as for this kind of, or this generation specifically, they experience a lot of failures, a lot of defeats, or unfinished dreams. They seek love, they seek revolution, they seek change, but mostly they are defeated one way or another.
For Nadia, as the heroine and the driver of the story, there are numerous moments where she has conversations with herself, and these conversations allows her to reflect on her life, critical reflections that, again, she finds that in her small apartment, which I love, when she moves into her flat, and it's the way you describe it, it's so very tiny that it has a little couch and she has an area to cook.
Sanctuary.
It's her sanctuary, yes. And even in that small space, it opens up an abyss for her to think about who she is and where she wants to go.
The two main places which I implemented, or I invested in the text, was the apartment and Tahrir Square.
Yes.
And both had, each had its own privacy, each had its own conditions, but each represented, or both of them represented comfort, represented some kind of peace.
Yes.
To the heroine, to the other characters. The apartment it's described as a very tiny apartment with a big couch.
Yes.
Almost nothing else in the apartment other than the couch. And the couch, it just represents a sanctuary, some place which in which the heroine stays and she can have all her peace of mind there, and she does not get any kind of anxiety that the way she experiences when she gets into the streets or she gets into other places where she's not comfortable in.
As we were talking, you shared with me a fascinating story about the title of the book itself.
The title in Arabic is called Sigara Sab'a, all right? And it was meant to be translated the seventh cigarette or seventh cigarette. But for marketing reasons, for different reasons, it was called cigarette number 7. And the reference to seventh cigarette is a part in the text where the heroine listens to a song by the ABBA. It's called The Day Before You Came. And in the Arabic text, I translated part of this song where she says, the singer, she says, I must have lit my 7th cigarette before it's noon. So she starts relating to the time where she's waiting for her boyfriend coming to her with the amount of cigarettes. So a long time passes and he doesn't come, so she starts listening to the song, and the lyrics of the song was not included in the English version because of copyright.